Hi everybody, it's Christopher and welcome to Life's Not Over, It Just Looks Different on YouTube. In this final video for 2020, I have my assistant, Bigfoot the cat, in with me, and we're going to answer some questions on just things that I've received through email and Facebook asking about my site. So let's get into the questions. Question 1. What can you see? I get that question all the time. How much can I see, or what can I see? The easiest answer is I can see everything around me. It's about how much detail I see. So I can see chairs and tables and furniture around a room, so I don't bump into things or trip over things, but I have trouble reading things like signage on a wall. I might see that there's a sign on a wall, or I might see that there's a piece of paper on there that's got something I should be reading, but I can't read it unless I get up really close to it, maybe with a magnifying glass, or sometimes I use my monocular, depending on what's available to me. Or in a couple of cases, I've used Seeing AI, which I showed on a previous video. So I can see the larger stuff, I just don't see with a lot of detail. And so when I'm out in a neighborhood that's not familiar to me, I need a monocular to read the street signs. Or if I'm in a mall or a strip mall or something that I'm not very familiar with, I need that same monocular to help me read the signs on the store so that I know which one I'm going into. And the same thing when I'm in those stores, I can see the shelves and I can see tables and things, so I don't bump into things or run into things, but I can't see with any great detail what's on those shelves or what's on those tables that they've got on display until I get right up close to them and get a chance to maybe pick them up and examine them, or find some other means, or maybe get somebody to show it to me. Next question. Did CVI change your writing or printing? The short answer is yes. My handwriting did change, or my printing actually. I don't handwrite anymore because cursive handwriting, I wasn't very good at it when I was fully sighted, and I'm even less good at it now, or poorer at it than I was before. So I print a lot, and I print a little bit larger, but what happens, I have to really concentrate on what I'm printing, because sometimes I try to be as fast as I used to be, and I can't, because it gets very sloppy, it gets very hard to read, and I just can't make it out. So like in my video that I was talking about writing, I can't keep a notepad by my bed to take down notes. If I get woken up by an idea in the night, I have to get up and actually sit at my computer and type it out, because if I try to scribble it down on a piece of paper, it's not going to be readable for me the next morning. So this has tripped me up a few times. I've been in jobs where I've had to write things down and take notes, and I've sort of tripped myself up going back later and trying to read my notes after that client meeting. And sometimes it has not always turned out as well as we'd hope. What is it like for you when you initially go into a crowded place like a restaurant or a church? What do you think about? How does it affect you? When I'm in a crowded place, or if I have to go somewhere that's very busy, a couple of things happen. I mean, I don't get a whole lot of anxiety about actually going into the place, because yes, I'm going to see people, and yes, they're going to be sort of 3D shadowy figures to me, and it really doesn't matter. Where it gets a little more stressful is if I do need to find a particular person. Then what I typically do is we arrange a spot where I can meet them, and then I let them find me. If I'm walking into a retail store, then in that retail store, what I'll do is if I'm looking for a particular product, I will take out my magnifier or my monocular, or sometimes even my phone with Seeing AI, and I will do my best to find the product. If I can't find it, then I will go to customer service and ask for a little bit of help. Sometimes they just need to tell me which aisle to find it in. Sometimes I need a little bit more detail than that. And I found that most of the time, customer service people are pretty helpful. So I don't really face a lot of stress with this unless I'm trying to find a particular person. Then that becomes a bit more of an issue for me. You've mentioned that you use magnification to read things better, but do you wear glasses? Does the continuous magnification affect you or bother you? That's a great question. I do wear glasses, but the glasses that I wear are not very far off of my prescription from 15 years ago before I lost my sight with the CVI. But all my glasses really do for me is they just kind of sharpen up edges a little bit. My prescription before CVI was 20/25, that was my visual acuity. So I was almost perfectly sighted. The CVI didn't really affect that part of things. So my glasses do still help to sharpen up edges and things for me, but they don't do much beyond that. I have tried a pair of glasses that have magnifying capability in them. They were actually telescoping glasses. They're great for watching television, or I've used them at sporting events and things, but you would never want to walk around with these things on. It would be extremely disorienting. And there are different kinds of glasses and things, electronic kind of glasses that are coming out now that can help people recognize faces and recognize signage and that sort of thing. But it is still not really recommended that you walk around with them because the depth perception and everything is off. It's not really very practical. And so it's not really a good idea to wear those walking around. And I wouldn't want that. I would find that very disorienting and very confusing. So I'd rather just not deal with that at all. What is it like to watch TV or a movie or look at a book with pictures in it? I do watch television. I love watching movies. Movies in a theater, of course, are great because you've got this huge screen to watch. Televisions, of course, much more than when I was a kid. Screens have gotten much larger too, which is really helpful. When I'm watching television or movies, I can follow along with all the action that's going on because I can hear all the dialogue and I can keep track of what's happening and I can see some of the subtle movements. But where I get into trouble or the parts that I really don't like very much is if there's a scene where there's just sort of music going on, maybe it's a thoughtful or a contemplative scene that, a character is sort of thinking about what just happened, but there's no dialogue. Those can kind of throw me off, and sometimes I have to ask my fiance, who is that? What are we watching here? Just so that she can tell me who the character is, and then I'll understand. Because if I've been watching the show and I've been watching the storyline, I probably know what the scene is there for. I just don't know who's in that scene, so I need her to help me recognize it. Same thing with movies. If they're showing a scene that doesn't have any dialogue, or if there's a lot of battle scenes, if it's a high action movie, sometimes I lose track of what's going on. So those are not always very helpful for me and can be a little hard to keep track of. If I'm reading a book that has pictures in it, I will sometimes take out my magnifier and try to look at the picture better with the magnifying glass. If I can't really make it out, or if the picture's just got too much detail, sometimes I just skip it and move on. One other thing I thought I'd interject here. There is such a thing as described video for the vision impaired, which is specifically designed to let people with vision loss know what is happening when there is no dialogue in a scene, or sometimes it gives a description of what a character looks like or what they're dressed up as in the particular scene. That is in some ways still in its infancy. It's not fully available yet, so not every program is available with described video at this time. This was fun. Thanks for watching. If you have questions about cortical visual impairment or sight loss, why not drop them in the comments or send me an email at christopher@lifesnotover.ca. Thanks for watching. We've really appreciated having you here. Bigfoot and I have both enjoyed doing this episode, and we wish you all the best in the Christmas season and for the new year, and we hope that you have a wonderful 2021. See you next year.